his boss. Ms. Teresa Eson Benjamin, Head of Legal at NIA, is here with us. Keep the applause coming as we acknowledge Mr. Frederick Doe, Director of Finance at NIA, the money man, where is he? And then Mr. Kwesi Baden, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, IMS, to Kwesi Baden. We also acknowledge the presence of Mr. James Kantamanto, not the market, Kunsen, Executive Director, IMS too as well, and Ms. Epia Chinbuasari, Group Head, Client Engagement and Government Relations, IMS. There she is. Please a round of applause. Let me also quickly acknowledge the presence of Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Ni Okanja Kwe, Acting Head, Director Operations. Thank you very much. Lieutenant Colonel Kwabena Owusu Nemako, Acting Head Director of Human Resources and Administration. Lieutenant Colonel George Appiah, Acting Head Technology and Biometrics. Thank you all for your esteemed presence, and let's give all of you a round of applause as well for your presence. Now, without further ado, please welcome to the podium the Honorable Minister, Honorable Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak.
Thank you. The Honorable Deputy Minister for the Interior, Honorable Tilabi, the Acting Chief Director, Minister of Interior, the Board Chair of the NIA, the Executive Secretary, NIA, distinguished guests, representatives of the partner ministries, departments, and agencies, officials and staff of the NIA, officials and staff of the Ministry of Interior, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of us once again. I'm not sure whether my sister really wanted to say I was wanted. Maybe most sorts. I understand. If I was wanted, look at all these security people, they will find me. Yes, I would like to welcome all of us to this press conference today and to announce that government decision to set up a safeguard what is most personal to every citizen, your identity. We are here to speak to the passage of the National Identification Register Amendment Regulation 2026 LI 2523 and what it means for the protection of your data and the integrity of our national identification system. On 2nd March 2026, and in the exercise of the power conferred on me by Section 73(1) of the National Identification Register Act 2008 Act 750 as amended, and on the advice of the governing body of the National Identification Authority, I signed the National Identity Register Amendment Regulation 2026, that is LI 2523. It was gazetted on the 27th of March 2026 and finally entered into force after going through parliamentary procedures on the 9th of June 2026. The LI 2523 amends the National Identity Register Regulation 2012, and that's LI 2111, and it does one central thing. It makes biometric verification of the Ghana card the mandatory standard for confirming a person's identity, and it retires the old practice of simply looking at a Ghana card, photocopying or scanning it as an acceptable method of verification. For too long, identity checks in this country have relied on officer glancing at the card or a business photocopying and filing it away. That practice has real consequences. A photocopy can be altered. A scanned image can be misused or reused without the owner's knowledge or consent. A Ghana card can be presented by someone who is not the rightful owner, and it's a visual check alone, and visual check alone cannot cut that. Ladies and gentlemen, biometric verification closes that gap. It confirms at the point of a transaction that the person standing before you is the person that card belonged to, and it does so without leaving loose copies of a citizen's personal data scattered across filing cabinets, phones, and email inboxes. To summarize the changes under this new legislative instrument 2523, 1. The ocular or visual inspection of Ghana card is no longer sufficient. Organizations offering the transactions listed under the Regulation 7 of the LI 2111 must verify identity through biometric authentication against National Identity Database, that's the National Identity Register, or through match-on card verification using devices approved by the National Identification Authority. Organizations may not request, rely on, retain, or reproduce a photocopy, a scanned copy, or image of a Ghana card for verification purposes, and may not use any biometric method other than that which has been approved by the National Identification Authority. 3. Individuals confirming another person's identity in a private or informal transaction must also use biometric verification where practicable and must not retain a copy of the image of the card or record and share the data on it, except as permitted by law or with the consent of the card holder. 4. A person who, without reasonable excuse, refuses to allow a law enforcement officer or another authorized person to scan a fingerprint on the Ghana card or take a live picture for verification commits an offense. So all these are the main changes that has come with the new LI. Indeed, these are not empty rules. Organizations that ignore these faces fine, running into thousands of penalty units, suspension or termination of access to the National Identification Authority's Identity Verification System platform. Individuals who misuse a Ghana card or refuse a lawful verification face fine or in some cases imprisonment or both. To ensure that these regulations are not merely words on paper, the National Identification Authority will establish a dedicated team responsible for monitoring compliance and enforcement across organizations and institutions. These teams will conduct compliance checks, investigate breaches reported to NIA, and work with relevant law enforcement agencies to ensure that the requirements of the LI 2523 are consistently applied and upheld nationwide. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be candid with you about why these penalties exist. They are not just designed to punish ordinary Ghanaians going about their daily transactions. They exist to hold accountable those organizations and individuals who continue to expose citizens' data to unnecessary risks after being given the tool and the time to do better. The government and the National Identification Authority recognize that this is a significant change for many businesses and institutions. We are not approaching this as a trap. The NIA has published its website, that is www.nia.gov.gh. The specifications for portable card readers and biometric devices, and will roll out sensitization and technical support to help organizations integrate onto the Identity Verification System platform for access to the National Identity Register. We are using this opportunity to ask every organization that verifies identity as part of its work, such as the banks, telecommunications companies, insurers, hospitals, schools, government agencies, and others to begin or complete the process to be onboarded onto the National Identification Authority Identity Verification System platform without delay. It took effect on the 9th of June 2026. Government recognizes that institutions will need time to put in place the system infrastructure, and staff training necessary to comply fully. Organizations are accordingly granted a transition period of 3 months from 27th of July to 2nd of November 2026, within which to establish the necessary protocols to implement LI 2523. This transition period is granted strictly to allow for orderly implementation and does not suspend or waive any obligation under the regulation. Institutions are expected to begin compliance measures immediately and to be fully compliant by the end of this period. Let me say, this is to every Ghanaian. You have a right to expect that your Ghana card will not be casually photocopied, scanned, or filed away by anyone you transact with. If any organization asks to copy your Ghana card instead of verifying it biometrically, you are entitled to decline. This law exists to protect you, not to burden you. LI 2523 is a deliberate, measured step to strengthen the integrity of our national identification system and to safeguard the personal data of every citizen and resident. We will implement it firmly but fairly, and we will work with all stakeholders to get it right. May God continue to bless our country and make it strong and great. Thank you so much.
So we'll now take a number of questions. As usual, you come here, you mention your name, your media house, and just one question as much as possible.